Welcome to What Happens in This House Stays in This House, Strength Over Silence podcast. I am your host, Tammy Montgomery Dozier. Once again, thank you for listening. I am very excited about this week's podcast. I have my very special guest, my mentor, Dr. Michael V. Wilkins. How are you today, sir?
I am so glad. And I certainly wanted to take this opportunity to say to you that I am really, really proud of what you're doing, not only through this particular podcast, but through all of your work that you've been doing in mental health and so much more. It's an honor for me not only to be a part of your podcast, but certainly to see all the things that you've developed into. I'm really, really appreciating what you're doing.
Well, thank you, sir. And a lot of it is because of you, because you believed enough in me. I wouldn't be here right now. So I do appreciate that. So while we get started here, give us a little bit of information about yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Who is Dr. Michael V. Wilkins?
I would tell you, but I have to kill you. I guess I'm a fan of everybody that's trying to do some good in the hood. That's primarily who I am in a nutshell. I grew up in the Robert Taylor homes. After years of that, we've moved on up to Roseland, where I lived as a teenager until late 70s, 79, 80. We moved out to the south suburbs. But through it all, I mean, I've been through a lot of particular things. I've served in the military. I served my country honorably. I have, right after that, from law enforcement. Then, of course, I became an entrepreneur. I used to own a CPA office. One of my PhDs is in accounting. So my other PhD is in theology. I'm also obviously a pastor, Created by Christ Ministries. But I think the work that's had me most involved has been SPAA, the Speakers, Publishers, and Authors Association. We're a national, not-for-profit, professional speaking and writing organization. We have 28 chapters around the United States. We have a chapter in Africa, China, and also in England. And then, of course, my heart, the SPAA Theater and Performing Arts Center, which I'm also the founder and CEO of, where we provide a variety of professional live stage performances. Although now we're doing a great deal of it virtually. We had a very successful murder mystery, but we do a number of musical tributes, original stage productions, many of which you've written and been a part of. We have a team, our actors, theaters, troupe, that we get together, we write productions, we put on productions. We help those who otherwise may not ever had an opportunity to participate in the performing arts, either because they didn't have funding to do so, they didn't have experience, but we took people in and we've helped them to accomplish a lot of those things, regardless of the fact that we don't hear from a lot of them anymore.
That's true.
That is what it is, but the bottom line is, and through SPAA USA, we help so many people with writing their books, becoming professional speakers. So I think at the end of the day, I've just been one to kind of practice our motto, which says, those who say what can't be done never interrupt those of us who are doing it. So many of us are stifled by listening to other people tell us what we can't do.
That's true.
And because of the limits that other people put on us, and that's actually taken from something that you always say that I'm so proud of. Talked about your wanting to be a background singer because that's all people told you were. But now you're a published author for several books. You have your own podcast. You're a director. You're a writer. You do so much now. And so whoever the hell those people was telling you the background sing, tell them I said, shut up.
I will do that. So you do a lot of stuff. So do you ever sleep? Because this is because
look, because you understand this. See, that's what happens. We understand. We probably gonna have to sleep when we're dead. Right now, we have so much to do, and the reason I know this is true is because often I thought of stuff in the middle of the night and say, "Oh, I could text it to her and she'll get it in the morning." Or 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're responding back to me at the same time.
Yeah.
So I probably sleep as much as you do.
Probably. So let me ask you this: what happened one day? Did you just wake up and say, "Let me just start SPAA. I know that everybody has a book, and this is just what you wanted to do," or "Let me start this theater. I just want people to act." What happened? When did it happen?
Well, that's a good point. It was some time ago. Many people people may remember a motivational speaker by the name of Zig Ziglar. Now, this was back in the 70s when he was doing a show. He had a book out called See You at the Top. And I read the book and I said, this is phenomenal. And he was coming to the town that I was in at the time. And the tickets were like $75. I said, oh, well, I won't see him. But my company that I was working with at that particular time had free tickets.
Oh, good.
He was like, hey. And that's how I went. So I went. I bought his book. I looked around and noticed I was one of the only African Americans in that particular venue that we were at.
Okay.
Hundreds of people there. One of the only African Americans there. And I said, And he was really good. I was really impressed. I said, I can do this. And I went up there at the head of him signing my book that I purchased. And I told him that. I said, I think I could do this. And he go, I think you can too. I said, well, why don't you have any African Americans here helping you? And he said, that's a good question. Maybe you can. And actually, he really did. I got his phone number. We talked, and I joined this organization of speakers and stuff, which is where I met Les Brown, where we began to do stuff together as well. And so that's how I got started. But one of the things that I noticed, right or wrong, is still the truth. At a lot of these organizations, we saw the same thing. And if you pay attention, you'll see this when you go to any school, cafeteria, or any place. You'll see people bunch up with their own people.
That's true.
And this is what I saw. Black folks was with a few black folks that was there in a corner with black folks. All the white folks was together with the white folks. And there was very few of other races there. But I noticed that. I go, why is that? Well, anyway, the long story short is that I understood that there were some things specifically for African Americans that we needed to do in order for us to have the same opportunities that some of the other speakers was. So we started the National African American Speakers Association. And when we realized that, after you speak, what do? You have to write a book. Okay, you write a book. What else do you do? We developed a lot of merchandise. We used to have T-shirts, CDs, stuff like that. We had cassettes back in the day and things like that. So I understood how important it was for the writers, the publishers, and the speakers to come together. And that's how we developed SPAA, the Speakers, Publishers, and Authors Association, because it covered a whole gambit of what you need to do if you're seriously interested in becoming a professional speaker or a published author.
And when did you realize you were gifted in writing plays?
Oh, well, I don't know if I ever realized I was gifted, but I used to go and see some people plays.
Okay.
I can tell you how I am. I'm not that one that's going to sit around and talk about your work. If I think I can do better, I'm going to try to do better. Okay. And that's exactly what happened. I saw a play and I thought, really? It's kind of like the rest 3-4 plays I've seen.
Okay.
I wasn't very happy with it. I said, I can do better. And so that's when I started to do plays. And so at that particular point, I thought about a lot of things, and I said, a lot of people, just like in writing your books, discovered that a lot of things that bothers you the most, the things that really makes you say somebody should do something about that, most of the time is you. Yeah. So that's why I started writing plays, and then they started doing very well. And then I realized, as in all the things that I do, if I can help other people to do those particular things, I'm committed to doing that. If they want to learn, because I had to learn the hard way sometimes that everybody doesn't want your help.
That's true. So with everything going on with the COVID-19, how has this pandemic affected you and your business and with SPAA Theater and SPAA USA?
That's a big question, because for me, I think when a lot of people look at some of the issues, I'm always looking at opportunities. So I'm thinking with this pandemic, they say stay at home. We're doing a lot of stuff out of the home anyway. So my thing was, this was just another opportunity for us to do stuff, specifically writing more books, writing more productions. So when we are able to come back out and be live, and we'll have productions ready to put on. We became so efficient at doing this. And you as a member, not just a member, as a leader in both of these organizations, you can attest to the fact that while some people were doing 2-3 plays a year, we were doing a play every single month.
Yes.
This was absolutely unheard of in the theater world. Most people were looking at us like, how can y'all do that? And although we looked at ourselves like, how can we do this?
That's true.
But be focused on doing it. So we didn't have time to worry about that. So it's the same thing we had talked about doing dinner murder mystery stuff. And it wasn't until the pandemic that we actually got a chance to do it.
And it was a lot of fun, yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what it is. When there's a lot of people looking at, whoa, it's me, what's going on? We see the opportunities. I always remind all of our folks, and I do this, but I always share with them the one thing you have to keep in mind is through every pandemic, depression, downturn in the economy, whatever's going on, somebody made a lot of money. Mm-hmm. My question has always been, why not you?
That is true.
So that's where it's been for me. So the same thing as far as the SPAA USA side. So while we're able to put on stuff there, we're still able to hold our meetings even virtually now until we go back into a space. And even when the governor or the politicians say it's okay, we're still going to use wisdom. And when our people think it's safe, that's when we'll continue to do live things. So we haven't stopped doing anything. In fact, coming up, obviously, we'll be doing our meetings virtually, as well as some of more of our murder mysteries until such time as we begin to doing some of our other training, which is coming up between July, August, and September.
Right. So I know you have this project coming out now called Choices and Consequences. And I want you to tell us a little bit about that, but I also want you to tell me, how does it correlate to what's going on right now?
I don't know what you're talking about, what's going on right now. Our program, Choices and Consequences, something that we developed from SPAA. You're one of the contributing authors. James Collins is one of the contributing authors. Sean Mitchell is one of the contributing authors. We even have a young lady who was contemplating suicide, used to cut it herself. Yeah. She's a young lady, and her name is Bree. And I believe she contributed some of her story. And the primary purpose of this was to make sure that our youth specifically understood things that were going on around them and how to overcome those, how to avoid some of the problems that we honestly have to speak to our kids about simply because they're African American. Notwithstanding the fact that they're just kids, but you still have to tell them some things about how to deal with being stopped by law enforcement. You have to tell them about things when they're even minding their own business, walking down streets in groups or alone with a hoodie on. Yeah. So we have to have some serious conversations with our youth in order to save their lives, and that's what it is. So as it pertains to a lot of the things that we have, so some of the things that you've developed in terms of, like, I know you're working on a phenomenal project with the SPAA kids, which I'm so proud of you for that. But some of the things that you have, the puzzles and word games and things for them to learn about different situations, that's pretty much what we're doing in Choices and Consequences. It's a workbook that we developed for a program that we currently offer online and in person if you're interested. This is simply to help you overcome some of the obstacles that they will encounter in their lives, if nothing else, just by them being Black.
That is true. And with everything going on now with the riots and everything with the George Floyd situation, and for those who don't know about this, is the gentleman who they said passed off a $20 fake bill in a store, and the store owner called the police, and then the police proceeded to take him out and arrest him and had him on the ground, and they had his knee in his neck, and and that's what yes. And so a lot of people got to see a man die in real life, struggling, asking for his mom. Is this some of the things that you're going to be talking to our youth about, or how are you going to do that?
The short answer, I imagine, would have to be yes. What I really am going to do is talk to the grown-ups about it.
Yes.
Because I think anybody over the age of 30 should be familiar with a guy named Rodney King.
Yes.
Back in Los Angeles in the 90s, they had this riot as a result. They videotaped this 5-6 officers beating the hell out of Rodney King.
And they got off.
That's the mildest version I can tell you what they did. Now, this was one of the first times that we said, we got a videotape. We're going to get some justice. Now, everybody could see what African Americans has been talking about for years that's been going on in our communities. Law enforcement, and I give the caveat all the time, we know that all law enforcement are not bad. But if you're part of the law enforcement and you're not saying anything to correct the ones who are bad, that don't make you good. So having said that, they watched this video and it was absolutely positive. Wow, we finally, now in America could see. And every one of them got off.
They did.
And that, of course, had riots in California, of course, and some other places. So there's a lot of other incidents that happened up until this point. And this is the thing. This was not the first man we saw killed like this, if you think about it. The gentleman who was selling cigarettes or something in front of the store.
Yes.
Who said, when they began saying, I can't breathe.
Eric Gardner, yes.
Yeah, when people began to take up this, they saw the police with this guy in a chokehold, laying down saying, I can't breathe, and he died. Yeah. You saw other issues of this when motorists was arrested and the gentleman that was in the car said, hey, I'm a licensed concealed carry. I have a weapon on me. I said, show me your ID. He reached for his ID. They shot him and killed him.
Philando Castro, yes.
So many of you know about the guy who sit there, had a hoodie on, went to get some Skittles and something to drink, and he was killed unarmed by some other dude running around in the community saying he looked suspicious. So I first wanted to just make sure it was very clear. This past incident is not new. And I think one of the things that someone brought up is that, I don't believe that racial incidents are getting worse today. I believe we're just videotaping more of them today.
Yes, definitely.
Because this has been going on for quite some time. So anyone that's shocked and appalled about what they saw with this have been living in some particular cocoon. This has been happening for years. And so when you get to the point and you have a lot of different people saying a lot of different things about the looters and those rioting and protesting and all the difference. Well, let me just say this as best as I know how. For all you fools out there who think that you can pick and choose what you think you should be fighting about, I can't be a part of that conversation because the issues remain the same. And here is the thing. First of all, they killed this man, and then the rioting started. Then they charged the police.
Yes.
Now, what is it about black folk that you don't understand? That had you not did that, whatever you did,
I agree,
that police officer would not have been charged.
That's true, because all that peaceful, okay, well, we're just gonna march, and and then what we're gonna do, they may or may not get off, or then if they do get convicted, then they get a hug and and all of that, and so we still get no justice, and we just sit by and passively wait to believe in a justice system that never believes in us.
Absolutely.
And I do get it, and I think people are like, well, they just need to stop looting, and how are you gonna tell people how to react to something like that? We've been in it for so long. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And people are tired. Yes. They are tired of giving hugs.
Exactly. But again, because in every situation where riots, protests, and things, please keep in mind, peaceful protests by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Were met with them being beaten by law enforcement.
That is true.
And so keep in mind when they bring up, why don't you be peaceful like Dr. Martin Luther King? Y'all killed Dr. Martin Luther King.
Exactly. And they had trainings on how to be a peaceful marcher. They had trainings on that as well. And then they hurt their pockets. So with that, they stopped using their services and everything. So then they had to listen. Because even now, we have buying power. If we knew that, some things would change.
That's absolutely true. And that was my basic point to all of the nonsense. It doesn't matter which side you're on, whether you're for or against. I don't even care. This is what I know for a fact. And what you just said, I believe with all my heart. If you really want to hurt them, you have to hurt them in their pocket.
Definitely.
So this is the real issue when you have to understand the fact that here it is that African Americans have billions of dollars in buying power. That's a fact.
Yep. The
problem is that we consistently spend our money with other people who do not support our neighborhoods or our communities or us. Mm-hmm. And so until we get to the particular point where we understand how important it is for us to support Black-owned businesses, and not just Black-owned businesses, but those businesses that support Blacks.
Yes.
And we'll understand what difference we can make. Until then, they'll continue to take you for granted. I talked about the fact that I heard the owner of Home Depot say, I can support Trump. I can do whatever I want with my money. And I totally agree with him. But what I also understand is you can't do whatever you want with my money.
Exactly.
So I don't go to Home Depot no more. And simply because whatever he does, that's fine. But the fact is, you won't use my money to support this current administration. And so I simply say that because until we as a people come to the conclusion that we will not tolerate being treated anyway, we're going to continue to fall for these. And some people know the right words to say. They'll tell you stuff and how to calm you down and appease you.
Yes.
And then knowing they ain't going to do nothing. And after it dies down, you ain't going to do nothing either. Yeah. So this is one of the things that we have to get past. Otherwise, this is going to keep coming back up over and over again. And then we can march again. We can break a couple of windows again. We can sit there and write some notes. We can unfriend a bunch of people on Facebook. By the way, the owner of Facebook, this guy is doing more to support Trump, and I know a lot of folks is. So my position becomes, we just have to, while we're getting all upset and turning on each other,
which is crazy,
calling each other names and unfriending people like, your world ends with somebody unfriends you. That's the most ridiculous thing I hear people say. I'm gonna block you. They're like, really? Anyway, so but the thing is, instead of doing all that stuff, why don't we simply come together and understand the first thing we have to do is support Black-owned businesses and businesses that support Blacks. Mm-hmm. The second thing that we have to do is understand that a lot of these things that we do, we can do without. Because a lot of times we're consumers. We don't buy things and invest in things that we can own, property, businesses, things like that. So our position is, just like if you just look at the looters, they breaking in shoe shop, getting Nikes, and some clothes stuff,
Yeah.
I'm like, the bottom line is, guys, you have an opportunity right now to make a difference. But if you go on and let them appease you just so you can put your little bricks down, and then knowing a couple of weeks from now, they're not going to do anything, your community's still going to suffer, you're not going to get any more money put into it. All of these things, until we come together as a people and understand the power that we have collectively, we're going to continue to fall for it every single time. And let me just say this, because I've always been one to put my money where my mouth is, that's exactly what I'm committed to. Supporting any Black-owned business. As a matter of fact, we're starting a resource directory so that we can have a list of Black-owned businesses that we can support. I think that's extremely important. Mm-hmm. The same thing, we're going to help people to become entrepreneurs. So this is some of the stuff we've always been doing at SPAA, helping them to become professional speakers and published authors. We have the only organization in this country that will give you a 50% loan up front to publish your book. You pay half, we'll pay half until you've gotten your book and got it out, and then you can pay the balance of that. Nobody else is going to offer you that to help you. So we put our money where our mouth is. Our upcoming training for the next couple of months, we're providing it totally free to anyone that wants to participate in becoming a published author and stuff like that. Same thing, our virtual murder mystery, we charge like $10 for the entire household. These are some examples of doing some stuff instead of just talking about doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are. And that's what we encourage folks to join us so that we can help you to help yourself.
Yeah. So I was listening to Killer Mike, and Killer Mike said, what we need to do is plot, plan, strategize, organize, mobilize effectively in order for us to move forward. Do you believe that? So some of what you've said is already, you've said some of that. But do you think that we need to go back to having someone in the forefront like we used to have, like a Dr. Martin Luther King or Al Sharpton? Do you think that we need to organize to have somebody to help us with this, to get out there and do this?
My position is this. How long have we been strategizing and planning and protesting and doing all this stuff? And anytime we put somebody in the forefront, and think about it, they do this consistently with us. They find any character flaw that they can to promote that and put that out of context. Think about all the stuff they tried to do to Dr. King, sending tapes to his wife, from the FBI. Everybody there. Think about and then they planning undercover agents in King's organization as well as the Black Panthers. And this is how they got him all the time. And what they know from this old philosophy of you cut the head off the snake, the body will die. So they think if they can keep killing the leaders, that we'll sit down and be quiet. And unfortunately, sometimes that's been true. What I believe is we don't need a particular quote unquote leader. And because what I believe is what the Bible says is that greatest leader is a servant among us. See, so those who want to jump up and have titles and say that they're this and this, that's not the ones that we need. What we need is somebody that don't need recognition, but is going to do work. Just like we do. We don't go around talking about a lot of stuff. And you and I have had a lot of more conversations than most, especially in terms of people who turn their back or they say horrible things about you and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you often talk to me like, how dare you let them say that and get away with that?
Oh, yeah.
That's not our fight.
Yeah.
See, that's a distraction. And that happens way too often to stop us from being focused on what we're trying to do. And after a lot of these things happen, those same folks are coming back to us saying, hey, how you doing? Can you help us? And so me and you get into it because you be like, hell to the no.
Exactly.
Like, hey, look, it is what it is. And so that's my position is I think it's time to stop talking about doing stuff. We need to just start doing stuff. And it's okay. If I see you doing something good, I can help you.
Yeah.
If I can't help you or I don't agree with you, I'm not going to try to stop you. Because what you have to understand is just like we have now, you have a younger generation, an older generation, you have people with different ideologies and different mindsets. And so you have to understand everybody's not going to agree with whatever you do and
That's
say.
True.
All the wonderful works you've been involved in, some people are like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you wasting your time? Many times people say those things to me. So you have to know that there's a reason. If you can help one person, bam, you've done something. So I don't think we have to have somebody that we prop up as a leader to say, all right, yeah, we gonna follow him and do whatever that. Because many times, and even with Malcolm X, he admitted the FBI tried to bribe him to being a snitch. This has happened to every single leader. They're offering them money, positions, and folks to get to a certain particular place, and they're like, well, we don't want no trouble and stuff. And I'm not really a sports guy, but this is the truth. I saw this thing just recently called Shut Up and Dribble. I know some white woman said this to LeBron James. So I didn't know they made a series of this. This is like 3 parts. But anyway, I saw with some of the athletes and how some of them stood up. Now, I grew up in the Michael Jordan era. He saw all of this and stuff. So I don't get into a conversation about who's the greatest of all time. But this is what I know. Michael Jordan was playing basketball, doing very well. He became a celebrity when I was coming up. And I know he may have done some things for the community. But I know for a fact LeBron James has did schools, has donated money.
Yes, he has.
That's what I know about it. So when they sit there and talk about all this stuff, at the end of the day, people are in positions to do stuff, they should do it. And so, but in this, I actually heard Michael Jordan say when they were asking him about the Rodney King incident, he said, well, I don't know much about it to comment on it. Right. Everybody saw that video and you could comment on it. But I understood Michael Jordan has never stood out publicly that I'm aware of in terms of standing up for black folk.
Yeah.
LeBron James has. So I just bring this up because we don't need to prop up somebody, because if you do, that's who they're going to attack.
Now, that's very true. Now, do you think that part of this, too, with all the looting and all of that, like they say we act like animals, and do you think that has something to do with mental illness throughout our lives, from slavery until now, or we just fed up as a people and just tired?
Miss Tammy, because you do such a wonderful work in the area of mental illness. I think what we first have to recognize is that I believe, now this is my personal opinion, so it's just as valid as anybody. I believe that we all suffer from some form of mental illness in our lives, period.
True.
Black folk, white folk, I believe everyone. If you're in America today, you didn't suffer through something particular. If you over 7 years old, you didn't suffer through something. Mm-hmm. So especially if you're African American, in terms of people going back and forth about what we do and all of these particular things, the truth is that everybody can use help as it pertains to mental illness. The one thing is we have to be careful with all the stereotypes and stigmas associated with it. That's one of the worst things for the African American communities. We were brought up in such a way that it was always just what you talk about, even as your broadcast, the podcast is named. What happens in this house stays in the house. That's how we grew up. We weren't supposed to be talking about what Uncle Nim was doing that we knew they weren't supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to be talking about all the problems in our families because we didn't want it to get out into the communities. So we weren't supposed to talk about a lot of things that we should have been talking about. Now think about it. But this came back from years of oppression and slavery and all that. That mentality comes from all of those particular things. There's no way that any people can be subjected to all the things that African Americans and Africans was subjected to without being affected mentally.
I agree, yeah.
See, so I think anybody who say, oh, I ain't got no problems, those are the ones that got the biggest problems. So we just have to be careful. But the thing is, I don't think there's no problem that we can't solve. So it may take time. It takes some longer than others. Some got deeply ingrained issues, and some may not be able to be helped unless they're institutionalized or medicated or both. But there are things that we can always do. And some of it has to do with the fact that, like with you're able to empathize with a lot of people and see stuff. It's the same thing with me. I've often gotten in trouble because I always look both sides of the story because I know there's always two sides. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, you can't invalidate someone's position because you just don't know what they've been through. There's a lot of hurting people out there that smiling every day, they dress up, they look nice and stuff. And they're like string away from jumping off the roof or their basement balcony or something.
And so you even see celebrities you have no clue. Look at Robin Williams and different people like that. They look so happy all the time on the outside, and you have no clue of what they're going through. So we did talk about your choices and consequences and other things. What are some of the other upcoming projects for SPAA, USA, and SPAA Theater?
Well, currently, as far as SPAA, the Speakers, Publishers, and Authors Association, the USA side, we call it SPAA USA. We're doing our monthly training. We'll be doing a great deal of training on writing, getting your book published, and things like that for the next couple of months of training. We'll be doing virtual training for that. Certainly at our website at www.spaausa.org, you can get information about that. On the theater side, SPAA Theater side, we have a number of things coming up. I think the next thing, if so permitted, or you decide to go through July, of course, we have an event that you've created about mental illness. Yes, and then August, we have a Teddy Pendergrass tribute that's coming up in August and September. We're doing a soul train.
Yes.
I'm actually excited about this one.
I got some songs. I I want to do. I got, send them to you. Because you always let me do every song I ask.
Oh, she's being facetious. I don't know why she's looking like Erykah Badu. Another one I don't let her do. But no, we do some of everything simply because we know a lot of folks like a lot of different things. But for the Soul Train, I just had the idea that, bringing it back, that's the way it was. Don Cornelius, somebody will be there interviewing the guests, and we'll have a bunch of...
Oh, that'll be fun.
Music folks coming on. And I think it's really going to be exciting once we pick that line up, and we're sure you're going to have a lot of great artists that you bring up. And,
of course.
And that you perform. So we'll be doing a lot of that, and then so much more. And of course, as we're getting through this pandemic and whatever our new normal is going to be, we're going to be planning some phenomenal stuff for the end of this year. We're opening our new season, and next year we've got some exciting stuff coming up that I keep close to my chest. I keep most of my folks guessing. But come September, everybody should kind of know where we are, we're going. Okay. But we're going to be doing a lot of things, but we won't stop.
Okay. So how do we contact you again? Give us that information.
Absolutely. For the Speakers, Publishers, and Authors Association, for the monthly training, it's www.spausa.org. For the theater side, SPAA Theater and Performing Arts Center, it's www.spaatheater.org. Or you can call us at 708-785-7371. And there's always opportunities for you to leave comments. You can ask questions or find out information about our upcoming projects. But we're really, really dedicated to getting through this together. And we like to help as many people as we possibly can get through with this as well.
All right. So when it's all said and done, what legacy do you want to leave behind?
I just need a few more people like you, Tammy, and I'm good.
Okay.
I think for me, I want the things that we're doing to go on. I won't feel like a failure unless I die and then everything that we worked to this particular point goes away. That's my greatest fear. So that's why I put so much into other people to try to make sure that they understand how important it is for this work going. And I honestly believe this, and I'm not saying this because I'm on your show, but I believe you're one of those people because you're doing the stuff that you've been trained to do, that we've been talking about for years. You're doing those particular things. You never thought about writing a book. You've written several books. You never thought about doing a play. You've written, produced, and directed several plays. Mm-hmm. So this, and I think about that, even those other people that we've helped that don't always want to give us the credit, despite how some folks treated us in the past, we remain focused on doing stuff that we can help better lives of other people. That's all I want for my legacy. You don't have to mention my name, but I know for a fact that some of them folks out there right now that's doing some of the stuff they're doing, they came through SPAA.
They did, and quite a few of them too.
Absolutely.
Quite a few.
So that's it for me, and I'm grateful for people like you, Dane Collins, Jackie Grover. I'm gonna get in trouble because somebody's gonna say I didn't say their name.
Of course.
But yeah, you and the rest of those people out there that continue to do those things that we've been committed to doing for years. That does my heart good. And I can't tell you how proud I am of you and all the things that you do and the things that I know you're about to do. That's what's exciting me more. And see, so that's how I get to keep living. I live vicariously through y'all now. I did things in my life. I'm ready to retire sooner than later. But the truth is, as long as we can continue to help people, I promise you, my life would not have been lived in vain.
Well, good, sir. Well, I want to thank you for being on my show. It has been a blast. I got to put you in the hot seat for a change. It was wonderful. So if you need to contact me, my name is Tammy Montgomery Dozier, and I want to thank you again for listening to my podcast, What Happens in This House Stays in This House. And you can contact me at www.connectedbyloveconsulting.net, and my phone number is 708-853-5683, 708-853-5683. And again, we are all here because we are all connected by love. And thank you guys for listening.